Hi everyone and welcome back to the Paperless Movement YouTube channel. I'm Tom Solid and I'm excited to welcome my new guest today, Zeb Evans, the CEO from ClickUp. And he's also the founder of ClickUp, which makes it really interesting to talk to him because he actually knows where this software solution comes from and where it's going to. He actually has a great vision what they want to achieve within the next year. And when he's talking about publishing features, he's not like others saying, you know, in the next month or years, we will do this and this. He's actually pushing out, oh yeah, this feature is coming next week. This feature is coming in 3. You have to check this out on your own. This episode is also available on my podcast. Make sure to subscribe to this one. But now, without further ado, let's dive into the chat with Zeb Evans. So I'm so excited today to have Zeb on the show. Zeb Evans, the CEO from ClickUp, actually agreed to give an interview here about the latest releases of ClickUp, and you know, we will dive deeper into this. I think people who follow this channel know what ClickUp is already. When I'm talking about Asana, Notion, Todoist, and ClickUp actually claims to be it all in one, and that's something we will talk about today as well. And before we start, maybe you want to just give us a brief introduction what ClickUp is and who you are actually.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for having me, Thomas. So ClickUp is a productivity platform that puts all of your work in one place. So think about it as project management plus kind of notes and documents or wikis, plus workload management and OKR tracking. Again, just the intention is the ability to save you time by putting all of your work in one place. I'm Zeb Evans. I am a lifelong entrepreneur. I've always been that person that started businesses and created things. So that's my passion from the very beginning. And I've started several companies before, but ClickUp is my baby now, and it's certainly my obsession.
Yeah, so that's always good to have a CEO on the show who is also the founder of the company and of the tool itself. So you also have development or developer background, isn't it? So you really worked on this tool on your own before you started it?
Yeah. So I taught myself to code when I was about 20 years old. And I just kind of built some hacky applications that, we created some stuff that kind of sold some automation in social media. And then eventually kind of through that journey, I had my frustrations and my dance with project management, productivity software, which ultimately led us to build ClickUp for ourselves internally originally, and then realize that there was really a much bigger problem that we could solve with the whole world.
So that's the inspiration to found actually ClickUp. And it started with ClickUp 1.0, actually just ClickUp, isn't it? So how did you come up with the name?
Yeah, good question. We kind of always wanted to have something that was memorable. So two words that are easy to remember and simple, not something very like arbitrary. And we really had this goal of saving people clicks. There were so many movements that you had to do around your desktop or laptop when you're moving between applications, specifically changing between, chat and project management and notes and calendars and email. And so like the whole goal with ClickUp really is saving you time. And so that's kind of where the click came from. And the up part really was more of down didn't work. And so up just sounded better, honestly.
Yeah, just had the same thought. So click down. Yeah. It's not a marketing strategy there. So yeah, but what I really like about this, you in this name, it gives you the feeling that you tick boxes, check boxes, and that's what we love, ticking off our task list and so on. And I'm still a heavy Todoist user for my personal task management, and I was using Asana for a long time for my teams, and I implemented it as a coach as well, and recently switched to ClickUp actually. And for me, the only reason, or the major reason to switch to ClickUp was the automations part. This is really something, and the integrations part actually. What Todoist and like other tools like Evernote and so on really have in common that they are open to other tools, and I can integrate it into my existing productivity system the right way. Well, you offering these things as well, but you actually provide a whole single source of truth on its own. So I could use ClickUp for everything, but I still able to connect it with all the other apps and tools. Maybe you can give us more of a background there and what, triggered you to give the API a good shot there.
Yeah. I mean, when we started 2.5 to 3 years ago, the product management ecosystem was very limited in integrations. And you're right, kind of Todoist was really the only one that even had like a Google Calendar syncing integration. And I think it kind of still is.
It is, yeah.
Aside from us, but
yeah, exactly.
But I mean, so yeah, I mean, that was always a frustration of mine was, there really wasn't this kind of open platform where you could get integrations and you could do simple things like being able to visualize your tasks on a calendar that are really needed for productivity. So when we started ClickUp, we certainly had that in mind where we wanted to solve that and build tons of integrations that really went deep also, not just scratch the surface on things like our version control like GitHub and Bitbucket. Those integrations are just as deep as you would find in something like Jira, which would be very advanced and heavy towards engineering products.
Yeah, that's awesome. But let's stay with the connection of Todoist and the Google Calendar that you just mentioned there. I was really surprised when I tested out ClickUp and I saw that you have a two-way synchronization there as well. I didn't came across any other productivity system or tool, that allows me to do this. You always can, subscribe to a calendar to a certain project, but a real two-way synchronization isn't there. This was really nice to see. However, I have to admit it is not as deeply integrated as Todoist has to offer it, like, with automation. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but ClickUp is deleting my events once I finish them in ClickUp, or is it not deleting it? I'm not sure right now.
Generally, it would be deleting it in the future if they happen in the future, not if they happen in the past. But we're actually working right now as our Google Calendar V2 that gives you all that flexibility and the customization of whether you want to delete them. You actually have the choice to add a check mark in front of it instead of deleting it. You can change the color instead of deleting it. So you can change it to green if you wanted to know it was green. And then also you'll be able to see your events inside of ClickUp. So you can overlay your Google Calendar events inside of ClickUp.
Well, this is awesome. I mean, yeah, thanks. I'm really looking forward to this one. It's so, that's interesting. I just had today the thought about when I was managing my Google Calendar again, synced with my Todoist, and I'm using colors there. And I thought, why, don't I have the opportunity to have a sign, a checkbox, anything in front? And you just mentioned exactly this. Did you read my minds before we started this interview? I'm not sure about that. All right. So, well, that's all I wanted to hear about Todoist. But the thing with switching to ClickUp 2.0, you really focus on teams. And I think that you're doing an amazing job there, offering everything the different types of teams really need. And I think that's not as easy in this area to really, there are so many types of teams you can do there or work areas. What about personal task management? Is it left over now? Should I go back to Todoist to do this? And if so, are you planning to integrate with Todoist much better? So I could use Todoist as my checklist to really see what I have to do from ClickUp. And you got the question there.
So we still see as our inbox is really nothing like Todoist, honestly. And what it will be in our second version of inbox, which is actually in our staging environment right now, is more like the Todoist kind of structure, and where you're able to visualize things in an inbox, a true inbox, and then move them around to different places within your inbox. Mm-hmm. So we don't see us as necessarily a personal task manager right now. But what the future of ClickUp is, it has always been this very flexible and customizable platform. So in the future, you'll be able to say, hey, I'm a personal user, and you get a light version of ClickUp, which really would just be inbox plus lists in one page. And you'll be able to still add on features if you want more advanced things, but you'll start small and then add them as you go. Mm-hmm. So I mean, to answer your question, we still see ourselves as a replacement for Todoist. There's certainly things that I think are better in Todoist right now. But in the near future, I think that will be an actual viable replacement of all of them.
Yeah, talking about things we could still can do better in Todoist. Look at the iOS apps and iPadOS apps. I'm sure I heard that you are working on a new version of these mobile apps as well. Maybe you can talk a bit about this. I think there's a bit of frustration going on in the community when it comes to ClickUp and mobile apps. So I'm really looking forward to this upgrade there.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'll start with the reason why we started with native mobile applications on each platform. When we released ClickUp 2.0, it was such a leapfrog above the previous version that we had to start over. And we knew we were going to have to start over on our native applications. So the choice was really, do we release 2.0 without native applications at first, without mobile applications at all, or do we release it with a non-native hybrid version of the application? And so, I mean, obviously, we thought that a hybrid application would be better than no mobile app at all. And in the background, we have been building native mobile applications, which are very close to being done. We're testing them now. So I think hopefully the early November, we'll have something released publicly.
Well, that sounds awesome. And for the other features we just talked about before, what is the time horizon for this?
Google Calendar features?
Yeah, exactly. Sorry.
Yeah, next 2 or 3 weeks.
Oh, really? Okay, yeah. So that's good news here. I really have to bring this interview out in time, so other than it's already outdated. That's all about ClickUp, isn't it? You're really pushing out these new features all the time. So how do you do this? Maybe you can talk about your culture and your company culture and your productivity systems you have in place to get these things out.
Yeah, I mean, at the top of our culture is certainly this urgency. We're in the most competitive software market in the world. And so in order to win, I mean, we have to, and fulfill our vision, like we have to move faster than all of our competitors. So that also means working harder than our competitors. You know, we all work very, very hard every day, every single day. Including our engineering teams, in order to release every single Friday. So it's not easy for sure, but you find the people that really want to change things, that want to save people time, and that's what our mission is. So we've been really fortunate in finding incredible people. It certainly starts with that, the people that really want to get things done and that can move as fast as possible. But we also focus on things like progress over perfection is another one of our core values, where I think that in general in software, there's a lot of time that's wasted doing user research and user studies and tons of prototypes and things that it's just honestly, it's not changing things that much. What we look at it as, we ship something that may not be perfect, but that we have great communication with our user base, and they'll let us know when it's not perfect, and we'll know pretty quickly what we need to change about a feature or something that we're releasing. And then we fix it really quickly, and that's a great strategy for us, and it's proven to work really well. But it allows us to kind of bypass or leapfrog a lot of those steps in product that normally are the most time consuming.
So that's Scrum at its best, isn't it? So you're really being agile here and reacting to the market. So I think that's really a good approach. And again, as you said, the research is one thing, but what people really need is the other thing. And I was also surprised being in ClickUp, having the chat box right there and reaching out to you guys anytime. That's really great to collect this. And then you're using Intercom, I've seen. And that's, I think, the best way to organize all these things. And do you use anything, for your roadmap and so on in the back end there to organize the roadmap?
Yeah, so the actual roadmap we use ClickUp internally.
Yeah.
That's kind of like
I tried it,
roadmap.
But you
yeah, for the public feedback board, we use Canny. So Canny is kind of a feedback platform where users can go and upvote on features, and we love Canny. I mean, I think there's an incredible amount of insight that you gain from just listening to users, their voices and their opinions.
Yeah, that's nice. So this is one part, being productive with ClickUp and, being in the best efficient way possible. But I also saw that you, as you also claim it, you're the all-in-one solution. You have a doc feature that is very similar already to the feels and looks like Notion. And it works great. And I think, or my question is now, what are your plans in this direction? I mean, when I talk about backlinks or building up a Wikipedia out of these docs, I think, maybe you can tell us more about this. Coming from Asana, this is really also something I love. I always teaching about single source of truth, and you should have this, and having all the instructions on one place, and I can refer within the same system to these instructions in my tasks. That's really a good step forward there. So maybe you can tell us a bit more about what you're planning to do there in the future.
Yeah, so I mean, from the beginning, we've had this relationships inside of ClickUp. If you paste a link to a task, we automatically relate it to the other task, and we've always done that from the beginning. Next week, we're releasing our relationships feature. So we're adding relationships to tasks where you can create arbitrary relationships, and they'll also be in docs automatically. So if you link to other docs, you'll see those backlinks in there. And eventually, we'll do something a little bit deeper. But yeah, I mean, I think that at the end of the day, relationships matter a lot in project management. There's so many things that are created that are duplicates or that simply just relate to each other in like a very subjective way. That it's really easy to click and see what it relates to. So I think that, this is part of the future of productivity, is kind of doing this stuff and doing it smart and kind of more automatic. And we'll certainly continue to do that as we update our relationships features.
Yeah, and I absolutely agree. Talking about automation in ClickUp, that's really awesome. Asana published this rules feature, and I was happy that I finally could automatically assign another person when I move on in the Kanban board. And then I go to ClickUp and I see all the features. Certainly there's still room to evolve out of this, but you mentioned already it's a beta there. So if this is already the beta version, then I'm excited what to see there next. Any plans on, or something you want to share about automations?
Yeah, I mean, we've compiled a long list of requests and updates through our beta program the past few months.
Mine as well.
So we are, yeah. So we certainly are aware of all of those things that for room to improve and usability and just more flexibility in what you can do with automations. Things like setting dates for automations to happen, like on a cycle, like every 24 hours or at this period. So those things are in the works right now. And then we're also expanding on all the integrations that we have. So right now we really just have, I think, 4 or 5 external integrations for automations, and we'll be adding 20 to 25, hopefully by the end of the year.
Well, that sounds really awesome. I mean, that's unbelievable how many features we will see just in the next, you're always talking about weeks here. Usually I hear months or years, but that's really exciting. But as you said it, you really have to step up the game here when it comes to other productivity tools. But with ClickUp 2.0, you really got the pace here, and you're certainly using the momentum right now. So I also see things, I'm always surprised when I look at features that we also have screen recording included in there. Any plans to integrate video, chat messages? Like, I can, instead of a comment, I may leave a video message.
Yeah, I mean, so you know what? It's a funny story because we used Loom, and Loom crashed for us all the time. It was so
for me
buggy.
too. I don't know what it is.
It was so the most frustrating thing in the world. We hated Loom, and so one of our engineers was like, "I think I can build this in a day," and I was like, "Do it. If you can build it in a day, then I will love you." And he did. He started in the morning and built it by the end of the day. And we're like, screw it, let's just ship it and see if people want to use this.
Yeah.
And it's used actually pretty heavily inside of the product. So we will be expanding it for more features, including, taking your own video, as well as being able to share like a link publicly that kind of has, like a download button and things like that to expand it a little bit more. But it was surprisingly easy to build.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, nowadays it's really, if you have the right people in the right place, then it's good. And you mentioned this in the beginning. It's really the hiring process, which needs to be focused on instead of the amount of people. It could even hinder you to be successful, isn't it? With this pace, where do you see ClickUp in 3 years then? I mean, what do you have a long-term plans there? And maybe you can tell us about this.
We always try and look just a year into the future. I think more than that is very hard to predict how quickly things move and change. We've evolved a lot just in the past year. So we look like a year into the future. And I think it's simply about realizing the full vision of ClickUp, which again is putting all of your work in one place. And I hope that in a year that will be fully realized. We look at it as we're like 60% of the way there through our vision. And so I think we'll be able to finish it within a year. And then on, the flip side of that, something I alluded to earlier is, not everybody needs all of the features inside of ClickUp. There's lots of people that do, and they still need even more features. But again, there's lots of people, especially personal users or smaller teams or simpler teams, that just don't need all the features. So in a year, we plan to have that flexible, customizable version where you kind of tell us who you are and we determine what you need, what version of ClickUp that you need. And then it just grows with you as you're introduced to project management and as your company grows.
Oh, so you want to also provide some services where you coach actually companies to use ClickUp the right way? With some automations in place, because right now, sorry to interrupt you, but right now I can do everything already. I mean, you give really, the comparison between Notion, Rome Research, and Evernote. That Notion is for architects, the real Rome Research is for gardeners, and Evernote is for librarians. I think ClickUp is for architects as well. So you really have a blank canvas there and you can start from scratch. That's what I really love about this. And you always have the top view that you can always see all the tasks and go down. That's all there. I mean, you even have mind maps there. I thought, I was asking for mind maps and so many different tools where I say we have to visualize our task complexity and nodes and all this. You have it there just because you have it there. And I agree, it is overwhelming then for teams, and now they really need to have guidance to implement their ClickUp the right way and so on to really understand how to use this. So you're telling us that there will be a much easier way to really get the build for you ClickUp version then.
Yeah, exactly. So there's two sides of it. There's kind of this just automatic wizard that you're going to tell us who you are, and we will just automatically kind of give you a version that's tailored to you. A more simple version if you don't have experience with productivity. If you do have a lot of experience, you'll get the more advanced version. If you're an engineer, you're going to get a very advanced version of it. But then, the second side of that is we've have an incredible third-party community of coaches that are great fanatics of ClickUp that have been able to coach people through the product and offer their consulting services. And we certainly want to continue supporting them. But we also want to scale something on our own that will help and more of the lightweight customer that may not be able to afford custom consulting services with the product. And we've actually started that now. So if you reach out to our team at help@clickup.com and ask for a coach, we will give you a free 30-minute session of ClickUp coaching. And we just want to scale that so that we can do that for everybody. Because customer service has always been at the core piece of who we are, and I guess who I am as an entrepreneur. I get very frustrated with bad customer service experiences. I mean, a business is all about its customers. That's all you have is customers. And so I think even with our product, it's we have a very generous free forever version. But we still give you free support even if you're on our free product. I mean, at the end of the day, I think it adds net value. And people will tell other people about our product and customer service.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. They stick on the long term for you then. That's absolutely the case. So, it sounds really awesome. But do you run into trouble with adding more and more features on the infrastructure and the back end, and that things still work together? Or do you have such a solid foundation there that you don't worry about this at all?
So we built everything from the beginning knowing that we wanted to keep everything interdependent on each other. So that you can actually, almost every feature in ClickUp you can turn off or turn on without affecting any of the other infrastructure or any of the other features. So we were very fortunate to see that vision from the beginning so that we didn't end up with something that could cause problems down the line. With that said, of course, as you add more features to front-end web technologies, you certainly can start having performance problems. So we are aware of that, and we have a whole dedicated speed team now that started last month. and that has made some great improvements on general speed and infrastructure. And we've also, my CTO Alex, he's incredibly gifted, the smartest engineer I've ever met by far in my entire life. And he has already started building it in a way where we started segmenting databases. So originally you just have one database for everybody. Now we're way too large to do that, so we have several different databases, and we can crank up performance up and down as needed and automatically.
Yeah, that's you answered another question I just had about the performance and so on. So obviously you're really addressing these things and push forward there. So Zeb, thank you very much for this awesome interview. You answered a lot of questions. I'm sure there will be a lot of questions below in the video or in the podcast. Anything you want to share with my community, or you want to let my community know about ClickUp and where to find it and why to get it?
Yeah, I mean, I would just re-emphasize that we have a free forever version, so there's no risk. It's very generous and allows you to use most of our features. And we also have free coaches. So if you email help@clickup.com and ask for a coach, they'll be happy to walk you through their product and give you a 30-minute customization and building experience so that you don't have to do it yourself.
That's really awesome.
Thanks so much for having me, Thomas.
And I think we should talk again in a few months then. I mean, we should talk every week because there are so many new features we can talk about. But let's keep it for a few months, and I hope I have you back on the show, and then we can talk about the updates there. Thank you very much. Awesome to have you.
Likewise. Thank you, Thomas. Great having me.
Oh boy, this guy is really efficient when it comes to talking. I'm asking him something. I mean, I felt like I was asking slower the question than he was answering, but also he was answering so quickly. There was so much information in there. Really condensed, really precise. This is really somebody who knows how to have an efficient talk and to focus on the information that needs to be delivered and just to the point. Really enjoyed this interview. I'm really looking forward to talk to Zeb next year because, I mean, you heard it. They're pushing out so many features now in the next weeks and months to come. I'm so excited about the two-way synchronization updates coming to the calendar two-way synchronization and all the features. I mean, especially with the colors, you heard it. I was really excited. So let's see how this works out. If you want to see how this feature works, make sure you subscribe to this channel and give this video a thumbs up if you like it. Share it with your friends if they want to know where ClickUp is heading to. And I'll catch you up next time.